Yo, what's up, all my homies, dudes, and dudettes? It's your boy Will, back again with another video. And just to chop up some things with you, I want to talk about how when you have a fragrance, when you start out in this fragrance game, how your nose is so immature. It's like, you know, certain things you like, some basic fragrances that are always usually the best ones for you. And then there's some that's very challenging. So I'm going over 7. I got 7 fragrances here that are new nose, no. These fragrances may be a little challenging for you because they're stronger and they're a little bit more artistic, and they have a little bit different character to them than some of the basic fragrances that you might smell in the store that's, mass appealing, like Bleu Chanel, Sauvage, or, Invictus. Those fragrances are easy to wear because most people are going to like those fragrances. These fragrances are some of the fragrances that you have to wear. And if you don't wear them, they're going to wear you. So let's talk about it after this, though. All right, so the first one I want to talk about, this is actually a good fragrance. All of these fragrances I really like. They're situational fragrances. They're not fragrances that you wear every day, but I like them. It's one that I'm not all that crazy about, and I'll talk about it when I get to it, but most of them I like. And this first one is by Sertuti, and this is Signature. And the back of the bottle looks like that, or this the front of the bottle. I'm not sure which one is which. But this fragrance is a fragrance that's really heavy on leather, and I think it has frankincense in the top. So if you're not used to that type of scent attacking your nose and being able to live in it, this could be a very challenging fragrance. And the leather in this is not that leather that you would get from like a leather jacket or some leather pants or even leather shoes. This is more of a leather that's just been cut. It hasn't been dyed. It hasn't been, so it's a more raw leather. So it's a little screechy. It's almost a little skanky almost. But and that's me stretching, because when I smell it, I don't smell that. I smell the artistic value of it, and it smells good to me. It smells a little bit more earthy. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So this is one that you might not want to try straight out the box. Sertuti 1881, and the Signature line, and this fragrance, the color of the juice is like a cognac kind of color. It's like a brownish color. That's the first one. The next one up, let's talk about this one, which is a kind of a weird fragrance. But this fragrance, I think it's been discontinued, but when it hit the market, it was, everybody was talking about it until it got discontinued. It may not be discontinued. I think it was, but this is Gucci Intense Oud. And this one, this one doesn't, it's called Intense Oud, but it doesn't have any oud in it. It has actually agarwood and I think it's myrrh that's in here, or it's something else on the top of this that's really screechy. And the wood in here, is it agarwood, or is it, I think it is agarwood, but it's really dark and wet type of wood. It's not like a easygoing kind of wood, and it leans a little bit like oud, but it's a little bit different. And this one's it's a little bit harder to wear because of that fragrance and because of that scent. If you don't wear this fragrance when you buy it, it will wear you, and people will look at you a little strange and probably will be like probably be put off by the smell. But you have to wear this. This is a very unique fragrance, and it's a good fragrance, but it's just very unique. And definitely situational, not something that you want to wear every day unless you have that type of personality. If it works for you, work for it. Go for it. This one is another fragrance that this is either a love or hate it. And this is even after you've been in the fragrance game for a while. It's people now that's still saying that this is a terrible fragrance. Some people say it's a wonderful fragrance. Joy, he says this one of his favorites. Cuba says this smells like what did he say? Trash truck juice. But this is The Dreamer by Versace, and I get both of their understanding, because I've even heard people say that this smells like the urinal. You know, the air freshener that they put in the urinal, and it, when you flush the toilet, it sprays up, and I mean not sprays up, but it mixes into the liquids, and you can smell that. It kind of has that vibe, but it's still a good fragrance. It's not something for the weak at heart. It's not something for somebody that's just starting out smelling fragrances, because this has a strong note of tobacco. But this is not your average tobacco. It's not like a pipe tobacco. This is actually tobacco blossom. So it smells like the leaf of the tobacco, but also the flower that comes with it. So it's almost fresh and almost earthy, and it's a challenging fragrance. As you can see, I've had this bottle for probably about maybe 10 years, and see how much of a dent I have not put in it. But yeah, this is another one. If you're a beginner, if you thinking about getting this, even because you could find these at the bulk stores now, very cheap, I would say try to get a sample of it before you purchase it, because you might be upset about it. But this is one of the classics. This is one of the fragrances that were groundbreaking, and this is one of the fragrances that a lot of people will refer back to, The Dreamer, even if they don't like it. So the next one, that was, what was that? That was 1, 2, 3. That was 3. So this is the fourth one, and this one is Hindu Kush. That coming up there, Hindu Kush by Mansara. Now this is the one that I was saying that I'm not all that crazy about, and this is when they switched over the tops to magnetic caps. This is one of the ones that I said I wasn't all that crazy about, because I was thinking, and this pressurized sprayer is really good. Now, I was thinking when I got this, that this was going to be, when they say Hindu Kush, and I know it was a note of cannabis in it, I was thinking it was going to smell similar to cannabis, you know, the aromatic part of cannabis, where it has a little smokiness in the back of it. But this is not that. The cannabis that's in this is, before it's dried, before obviously, before you can smoke cannabis, you have to dry it, and then you have to crush it and all that stuff. But this smells like when it's growing, and when you pick the leaf off. So the leaf is still green, and that's what it smells like. And when you pick the leaf off, and when there's where you break the leaf, and sometimes it'll be like a white pus that comes from the leaf, from the where you broke it. that's kind of that's the cannabis smell that I get from this, not the dried cannabis or the, you know, smelling like, you know, that other, the later part of cannabis. But anyway, so yeah, this is another one. Best to try this before you use it. And this is another one that I've had probably maybe about 3 or 4 years, and I haven't put much of a dent in it. But the strange thing about this, I do get compliments on it. Weird. So, this is Hindu Kush by Mansur. That is 7654. Number 3. I'm gonna save that one. This one is this is another classic, but this one I actually really like, but I know a lot of people that are fresh in the fragrance game wouldn't like it. This is Dark Rebel by John Varvatos. They have this one that's Dark Rebel, and they have another one that's Dark Rebel Rider that has like a leather jacket on it. This one, same thing. This one has a strong note of tobacco also, but to me, it feels like it's toned down with some of those other, I think it has cognac in it also. And to me, it feels like it's toned down, but I know I've had some people smell this that's not really into the fragrance game, mainly females. They do not like this. And I would think if you're getting into the fragrance game, this is probably not a fragrance that you want to start out with, but it is a fragrance that you might want to pick up, because this is a really good fragrance, and this is one of the fragrances that you probably will refer back to, because it's good for referring back to, comparing to some other fragrance. So that is Dark Rebel by John Varvatos. That was number 3, and we're going to number 2. My fragrances are about to fall. They're about to fall. Okay. All right, so the next one is Lalik's Ombre Noir. Now, this one, this is, you can get this for pretty cheap. This is a niche fragrant, niche smelling fragrance. So if you're ready to take your feet into the niche zone and try to start wearing some fragrances that are not very mass appealing, which this one is not. This one also has a note of leather. Is it leather or tobacco? Can't remember. I think it's tobacco, and but it's not a comfortable tobacco. It's a tobacco that you have to fight with. So yeah, Lalik Noir, Ombre Noir, not easy to wear. That is number 2, and the last one. This is actually a very cheap fragrance, but the quality of it is really, really nice, but it's definitely not for the beginners. This one is One Man Show, and this is the Oud Edition. Now with this one, this is not a very good, not easy fragrance to wear, but look at the dent I put in that. Can you see that? Can you see that? See where that is? Way down here. Even though this is really hard to wear, this is one of those fragrances that I wear for myself, but also it's really, really, really good to wear and layer it. Like I sometimes will layer this with a cherry fragrance that I might have, or I'll layer it with a pineapple fragrance. Sometimes I even layer it with a peach fragrance. So this is very, very, very hard to wear. This one smells like oud. And when I say oud, I mean stanky barnyard bad oud. This is a really skanky oud. Very, very skanky. Excuse me. This is a very skanky oud. This one is not easy to wear. It's not something that you start out with. But even though I said this is a cheap fragrance, so it's good if you can go ahead and pick it up, because later on in your journey, if you're going to stay in the fragrance game, this is something that you may grow to appreciate. But starting out, no, not a good fragrance to start out with. This is not a new nose fragrance to rock. All right, so, but yeah, I like it. Like I said, I put a little dent in it, and I had this one probably, I had this for a few years. I probably had it, but with all the fragrances I have, any fragrance that I have that kind of dent in it, it's a pretty good fragrance. But this is only worn in the wintertime. I can't even wear this. I don't even wear this at home in the evenings by myself in the summertime, even with the air conditioning on. This is only geared for the wintertime and when it's really cold outside. And even if I wouldn't even layer this with something in the summertime, this is that thing. This is that thing. So that's it. That's all I got for you. Just wanted to have a little conversation, chop it up with you a little bit, talk about some new nose, no fragrance to not rock with. If you see them in the store, you can get them. If you have new nose, you can get them, but just know these are not fragrances that you may be able to vibe with right off the bat. You might have to grow into them. You know, you get them today, smell them today, then come back to them like maybe a year later, and you might be like, oh, wait a minute, this smells a little bit different. Or you know, after you've been on the journey and smelled a few fragrances, you might be like, okay, I can appreciate this a little bit more. You might not like it, but you may learn to appreciate it. And as you go on the journey a little bit further, you might even start liking it. You know, the older we get, the different our nose changes, and the more we get experience in things, the better we are at it. So anyway, it's been your boy Will with the Will Report. I appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging out with me. I know you could be anywhere else, but you're hanging out with me. Talking about no new nose. New nose, no nose. All right, but until next time, catch you on the next one. Deuces.